Hi there, my name is Malvika Rajkumar. I am the content lead of Nyaya. Today I'm going to talk to you about the law on labor and how it's been affecting employment, payment of wages, etc. and how the situation has been working out during the COVID pandemic. Now let's start with what the status of payment of wages currently is. Do employers have to pay wages? Now on 29th March, the Ministry of Home Affairs put out an order saying that employers, be it industries, commercial, private, have to make payments to employees. Sorry. Now the order was made by the Home Secretary as a chairperson of the National Executive Committee of the National Disaster Management Authority, which is a nodal agency under the Disaster Management Act. Now, under Section 10(2)(1) of the Disaster Management Act, it clearly says that the National Executive Committee can issue guidelines and directions for states to follow. Now, the center during the situation does not have power to issue directions unless it's an emergency, and because an emergency has not been declared, there are limited grounds. So, NEC orders are being passed, and the center has been asking the states to comply with these orders. Now, if states actually disregard these orders on actually paying wages to employees, if the employers actually disregard them, there may be a situation where they may be punished under Section 55 and 56 of the Disaster Management Act for non-implementation and for failure to do duty. And the head of the department which is failing to do the duty may also be punished under this. Now, the situation of COVID right now is unprecedented because there has been a lot of confusion on whether the payment of wages is mandatory, whether employers have to do it. So currently there is no basis in law to compel private employers to pay wages. Even if you check the state advisories, which can be accessed through the Labour Commissioner websites of the particular states, for example, in Goa and Kerala, it clearly uses the word requested and advised. So there is a lot of confusion regarding this. Many employers currently are also facing the situation where they are not able to pay their employees because they're not earning income, or they're financially unstable right now. To understand and to understand the claims regarding payment of wages, let's look at what the law says. Now, Payment of Wages Act 1936 ensures that employers pay wages in a timely manner to the employees. Now, the employer has to pay wages to employees working in certain sectors. For example, those working in factories, those fulfilling a contract with the railway administration, a tramway service or a motor transport service engaged in carrying passenger goods, air transport service other than those belonging to the military, navy or air force, a dock, wharf or any jetty, inland vessel, mechanically propelled industries, mine, quarry or oil field related establishments, plantations, workshops or other establishments where articles are produced, adapted or manufactured, establishment in any work relating to construction, development, maintenance of buildings, roads, bridges or canals. Also operations connected with navigation, irrigation, development and maintenance of building roads, etc. Distribution of electricity, and mining operations. Now, under the Payment of Wages Act, it clearly says that deductions on the salary amount of an employee can only be made under certain circumstances. That is, one, if there are fines that are being imposed. Secondly, if the employee is absent from duty. Thirdly, there's damage or loss to the goods which was in the custody of the employee. Or four, if the employer or the government is providing house accommodation. Now, there has been a lot of confusion on whether all the employees currently under the COVID situation are absent from duty, but case law clearly says that you cannot consider an employee to be absent from duty unless they chose not to work. So that is what the current situation is in terms of payment of wages. More clarity will come once the court starts functioning and the decision is looked into. Now let's look at what force majeure is. This is an aspect that's there in most contracts, and it is a big issue that's being discussed in contract related transactions between parties. First of all, force majeure is a contractual clause that alters a party's obligation or liability to actually perform a certain duty, and this alteration happens when there is an extraordinary event or circumstance that takes place. Now, this clause mostly depends on the nature of the way it is drafted in the contract between the parties. For example, if the party is, some of the situations which can arise out of the force majeure clause is that the party can be excused from any delay. They are entitled to suspend the contract itself. They can claim any extension that they want. They can terminate the contract itself. And the force majeure clause means it's an act of God. That means no one can be held accountable for such a situation. For example, a hurricane, a man-made disaster, all of this would be an act of God. Now, the law covers force majeure under Section 32 and Section 56 of the Indian Contract Act 1872. Typically, force majeure includes act of gods, natural disasters, war, labor unrest, strikes, etc. And now the courts will actually, after the lockdown has been lifted, will decide whether COVID-19 would get covered as an extraordinary measure or a act of God right now between parties and their dispute. But force majeure clause are never implied, meaning they have to be explicitly provided in the contract, and mostly it has to be explicitly provided in the language for it to be a act of God. For example, like your contract may say that, or may just be vague and say it's an act of God, or it may specify that force majeure can only be invoked during man-made disasters. So again, it depends on whether you use the word epidemics, pandemics, etc., or even a broad theme like act of God or unforeseeable circumstance. Now, the government has declared COVID as a force majeure event. This happened through the Ministry of Finance Office Memorandum dated February 19th, where force majeure clause in contracts can be used by parties if there is a disruption in the supply chain. And the Ministry of New and Renewable Energy has also on 20th March says that if there is a delay or disruption in the supply chain due to COVID, then the force majeure clause in the contract can be invoked. Another big issue is that many of the industries, factories, etc. are being closed down right now because they cannot either run or workers are not there. So let's look at what the law on closure is. Now, during the COVID-19, you can see that many employers are forced to close businesses, or they're purposely taking decisions to close their industries. But 60-day notice has to be given by the employer under the Industrial Dispute Act. And this 60-day notice has to be given by the employer if there are more than 50 workmen that are working, or if there are more than 50 workmen being employed on an average working day. Now, the government can dispense of the 60-day notice requirement on the ground of two exceptional circumstances. One is if there's an accident, or secondly, there has been a death of an employer. But under Section 25 FFF of the Industrial Dispute Act, you can see that when a place is closed down or if there's closure of an industry, the workmen who have been working there for at least a year will get paid compensation and notice. And when the industry or factory under this law has been shut down on account of any unavoidable circumstances, then the company has to pay less than 3 months average salary to the employees. Now, what are these unavoidable circumstances that are given under Industrial Dispute Act? One is financial difficulties. Secondly is accumulation of undisposed stocks. Thirdly is the expiry of the period of lease or license. And fourthly, if the undertaking is engaged in mining operations and minerals have been exhausted. Now, it still remains to be seen if COVID-19 is an exceptional or unavoidable circumstance. Some more clarity will come once courts start resuming. Now let's look at another important aspect, which is layoff and retrenchment, or in simple terms, you're being fired from your job. Now, many employees are being laid off currently due to the COVID situation. So let's look at what the law actually says. Now, for a layoff and to actually file a dispute for layoff under the Industrial Dispute Act, you need to be a workman under this law. Now, a workman is not, for example, is not someone who has a consultant contract. And a workman is not someone who's a professional working in a private establishment. So, a workman is someone who does manual labor, skilled labor, unskilled labor, technical, operational, clerical, or supervisional labor. And this workman may be dismissed, discharged, or retrenched, but they still be considered a workman if they belong to a certain set of factories. Now, many managers and administrators getting more than rupees 6,500 per day are not included in this category. And this does not apply to Army, Navy, Air Force, or police. So, what is a layoff? It is a temporary suspension of your job as compared to a retrenchment, which is you're being permanently fired. Now, what are some of the reasons for layoffs? One, there may be, as per the Industrial Dispute Act, there may be shortage of coal, there may be accumulation of stocks, there may be a breakdown of machinery, there may be any natural calamity, or any other reasons specified under the law. Now, just because an employee has been laid off or suspended from work, it doesn't mean he or she can be indefinitely suspended. This employee or workman, after 45 days, the employer actually has to either actually continue their layoff by giving a specific reason or terminate the employment. Now, during COVID, the option to terminate the job lies with the employer, but there are a lot of procedures that have to be followed. For example, notice period has to be given. Secondly, payment of compensation. Thirdly, intimation to the government authorities, etc. Now, there is a question on how all these steps will be taken when most of the authorities are being shut right now. So, and there has been an advisory by the Ministry of Home Affairs stating that employers should try their best to not fire their employees. But again, the current nature of the order is in an advisory form, so it is not binding. And on the ground level, you can see that many employers are terminating the job of their employees. Most of the disputes that come out of this will lie in court, and it is best to get in touch with a lawyer at this point. Now, let's look at what are the general protections that have been given to migrant workers under this law. So, to start out with, there are no explicit protections that have been given. I think there was an influx of migrant movement happening across states during this time. The Ministry of Home Affairs has written to all the states asking the states to provide migrant workers with camps, accommodation, food, medical care, and the Ministry of Health has also asked the states to follow the directions given by the Supreme Court, which are to provide relief camps, proper facilities for food, drinking water, and sanitation. Trained counselors and community leaders should be asked to visit these camps and help the laborers deal with mental health issues. Police should be asked to deal with migrant laborers in a humane manner. Now, not fulfilling these, if the states don't fulfill these duties, they may be punished under the Disaster Management Act, the Section 55 and 56. Now, as I've covered all these issues, it is important to note that since COVID is such an unprecedented situation happening right now, a lot of issues under labor law will be dealt by court once they open. So there will be a lot more clarity. Right now, the nature of the instructions given to employers are all advisory based. So there is a lot of confusion going around. I think more clarity will come after the lockdown has been lifted. And in the meanwhile, if you have any doubts, please reach out to Nyaya. You can ask your questions on Ask Nyaya. You will find it on www.nyaya.org. And you can also reach out to us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. We're also there on TikTok. Thank you. I hope the session was useful.